Professor Henry Caswall was an English professor, Episcopal reverend, and a skeptic of Mormon prophet Joseph Smith. In 1842, he visited Nauvoo, Illinois, and heard about Mormon prophet Joseph Smith's claim to be able to translate ancient documents. Caswall met with Smith and showed him a Greek Psalter to examine, in an attempt to fool him. A Psalter is a liturgical book, or book used for public worship, containing the book of Psalms from the Bible. The Psalter that Professor Caswall showed to Joseph Smith was very old and written in Greek. According to Professor Caswall, Joseph examined the book in front of witnesses, and then proclaimed it to be a dictionary of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Caswall reported the event as follows. He asked me if I had any idea of its meaning. I replied that I believed it to be a Greek Psalter, but that I should like to hear his opinion. No, he said, it ain't Greek at all, except, perhaps, a few words. This book is very valuable. It is a dictionary of Egyptian hieroglyphics. Pointing to the capital letters at the commencement of each verse, he said, them figures is Egyptian hieroglyphics, and them which follows is the interpretation of the hieroglyphics, written in the Reformed Egyptian. Them characters is like the letters that was engraven on the golden plates. Professor Caswall then informed Joseph that it was a plain Greek Psalter. Joseph left the room, according to Caswall. The incident was then published in an Illinois newspaper. It read, "We lately heard a story, which while it may make us mourn over the depravity of human nature, serves to show, among many similar facts, the low artifices and cunning tricks to which the Mormon prophet will resort, in order to impose upon the gullibility of his followers. The story is in this wise, and can be substantiated by respectable witnesses. Some time since, Professor Caswall, late of Kemper College, near St. Louis, an Episcopal clergyman of reputation, being about to leave this country for England, paid a visit to Smith and the saints, in order that he might be better able to represent the impostor to the British people. It so happened that the professor had in his possession a Greek Psalter of great age, one that had been in the family for several hundred years. This book, as a relic of antiquity, was a curiosity to anyone, but to some of the saints who happened to see it, it was a marvel and wonder. Supposing its origin to have been as ancient, at least, as the prophet's Egyptian mummy, and not knowing but the professor had dug it from the bowels of the same sacred hill in western New York whence sprung the Holy Book of Mormon, they importuned him to allow Brother Joseph an opportunity of translating it. The professor reluctantly assented to the proposal, and accompanied by a number of the anxious brethren, repaired to the residence of the prophet. The remarkable book was handed him. Joe took it, examined its old and worn leaves, and turned over its musty pages. Expectation was now upon tiptoe. Brethren looked at one another, at the book, then at the prophet. It was a most interesting scene. Presently the spirit of prophecy began to arise within him, and he opened his mouth and spoke. That wonderful power, which enables him to see as far through a millstone, as could Moses or Elijah of old, had already in the twinkling of an eye, made those rough and uncouth characters as plain to him as the nose on the face of the professor. This book, said he, I pronounce to be a dictionary of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. The brethren present were greatly astonished at this exhibition of their prophet's power of revealing hidden things. After their exultation had somewhat subsided, the professor coolly told them that their prophet was a base impostor, and that the book before them was but a plain Greek Psalter. Joe stepped out. Such is the manner in which this errant knave imposes upon his followers, and such is the manner in which his knavery is sometimes exposed. Yet, strange that people continue to believe him. Professor Caswall, since his sojourn in England, has published a work entitled 3 Days at Nauvoo, in which this rich scene is represented in an engraving. Professor Caswall claimed he also reported the incident to Mormon apostle Willard Richards, who reportedly replied, "Sometimes Mr. Smith speaks as a mere man. If he gave a wrong opinion respecting the book, he spoke as a mere man." This is one of the first references in Mormon history about the idea that when a prophet is right, he was speaking as a prophet, and when he is wrong, he was only speaking as a man. This viewpoint is still held among many members of the church today.